Have you ever experienced a sensation of being touched by someone who has passed away in your dreams and felt that it transcended mere imagination? Edgar Cayce, renowned as America's most extensively documented psychic with more than 14,000 readings, provided a startling caution regarding these experiences that can profoundly alter your perception of the spirit realm and your own consciousness. What I'm about to convey to you is directly sourced from Cayce's archived readings at the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach. This isn't based on conjecture or fiction. These are recorded instances that amazed even his stenographer, Gladys Davis, who meticulously documented every word for over 4 decades. Before we delve deeper, there's a vital question I need to ask you. Have you ever experienced a dream in which a loved one who has passed away seemed to reach out to you, leaving you feeling as if it truly took place? Feel free to leave a comment below, as what you're about to learn could provide clarity on experiences you may have previously regarded as simply dreams. Today, you will explore 3 insights from Cayce's readings that will change your perspective on consciousness. First, we will discuss the reasons why those who have died show up in our dreams and the messages they intend to convey. Second, Cayce offered a crucial warning regarding certain forms of spiritual interaction that may deplete your energy. Lastly, the protective techniques he suggested have been effectively utilized by thousands since the 1930s. Edgar Cayce didn't merely speculate on these experiences. He underwent them personally and recorded the spiritual processes involved in readings such as 136 to 18 and 26 and 29. His findings contest the fundamental teachings of mainstream psychology regarding dreams and reveal aspects of consciousness that most individuals are unaware of. However, Cayce disclosed some information that fundamentally alters our perception of death and dreams. Consciousness does not merely come to an end upon the death of the physical body. Rather, as outlined in reading 1472-2, the soul persists through what he referred to as interplanetary sojourns, residing in dimensions that sometimes overlap with our dreaming state. In reading 575-6-4, Cayce detailed that dreams act as a bridge connecting the physical realm with the spiritual one. During sleep, our conscious mind rests, permitting our subconscious to access frequencies that are typically obstructed while we are awake. At this point, interaction with discarnate beings can occur. However, there's an even more important aspect to consider. Cayce identified 2 categories of dream interactions with those who have died. The first category includes authentic messages from departed loved ones, typically offering comfort or advice. As noted in reading 136-83, these experiences are calming and frequently deliver details that the dreamer would not normally possess. However, this is where Cayce's caution becomes essential, revealing a startling aspect of spiritual connections. The second category he mentioned consists of earthbound spirits or entities that have not successfully moved on to higher realms. In his reading 57-56-12, Cayce described how these entities can connect with the living through dreams, slowly siphoning their life force. Allow me to present a documented example that demonstrates this clearly. In 1936, a woman from Norfolk, Virginia, reached out to Cayce for assistance after having persistent dreams in which her late husband would hold her close. What once provided comfort soon left her feeling drained and despondent. Cayce's reading 1151-05 indicated that her husband's spirit was trapped on Earth, unable to move forward in his spiritual journey, and was subtly siphoning energy from her to sustain his connection to the physical realm. This revelation transformed the way spiritual advisors perceive posthumous attachments. Cayce elaborated that certain souls, especially those who experienced sudden deaths or held intense earthly ties, may find themselves disoriented in the afterlife. Rather than progressing toward the light, they linger near the earthly plane in search of familiar energy signatures. What adds to the concern, and I'll present the documented solution shortly, is that these terrestrial beings do not deliberately cause harm to the living. However, their energy demands lead to what Cayce referred to as a psychic drain. Individuals who encounter these entities frequently describe feelings of fatigue after waking, alterations in their mood, or challenges with concentration throughout the day. A notable illustration is the documented case of Mrs. Helen Morrison from Richmond. Following her son's death in World War II, she started experiencing dreams in which he would grasp her hand and wouldn't release it. Reading 3742 uncovered that her son's spirit was making efforts to stay linked to his mother instead of embracing his transition. Cayce's session offered precise guidance that not only aided her son's spirit in moving forward, but also revitalized her own life force. However, there is an essential insight that Cayce found regarding the timing of these communications, which many individuals overlook. Reading 2628 indicates that spirits of those who have recently passed frequently seek connection within the initial 40 days following death. This time frame, which Cayce referred to as the adjustment phase, signifies the soul's gradual acclimatization to its new form of existence. In this period of adjustment, the departed might not completely grasp their situation. They often seek to convey messages through the easiest medium at their disposal, which frequently turns out to be the dreams of someone they cherished. Documented in readings 1152-3 is the account of a father who repeatedly visited his daughter in her dreams to reveal the location of vital family documents he had concealed. It was only when she discovered the papers and recognized his communication that these visits came to an end. This alters our perspective on how we ought to engage with such dream interactions. In reading 5T756-9, Cayce highlighted that our mindset and spiritual readiness play a crucial role in whether these interactions are beneficial or detrimental. When we engage with them out of fear or overwhelming sorrow, we generate an energy dynamic that can confine the spirit of the deceased to lower realms. The most astonishing revelation, which even caught Cayce off guard, comes from reading 14:27-28. He found that our emotional responses during these dream interactions have a direct impact on the spiritual development of the departed. Intense grief or fear can inhibit a soul's natural growth, whereas love and spiritual insight facilitate their progression. Allow me to present a documented instance that illustrates how this principle is effective. In 1941, Margaret Thompson from Virginia Beach experienced the loss of her husband and subsequently began to have dreams each night in which he seemed troubled and reached out to her. Inspired by Cayce's insights from text 1158-12, she started addressing these dreams with prayers and positive affirmations of love and letting go. Just 2 weeks later, her husband made one last appearance, appearing tranquil and enveloped in light to bid farewell. However, what Cayce disclosed about the protective techniques will transform your approach to these experiences entirely. The essence is found in the spiritual readiness prior to sleep and in sustaining what he referred to as a suitable alignment with divine energies. In reading 281-13, Cayce suggested a particular nighttime routine for individuals facing undesirable spiritual interactions. Initially, engage in a time of prayer or meditation to elevate your spiritual frequency. Next, affirm mentally that solely the highest spiritual energies are permitted to reach you during your slumber. Finally, visualize yourself enveloped in white light and summon your spiritual guides for safeguarding. The proven effectiveness of these techniques is impressive. In a study from 1958 by the Association for Research and Enlightenment, 43 participants who followed Cayce's protective guidelines were monitored. After 30 days, 87% of them indicated that they either completely stopped experiencing unsettling spiritual interactions or that these experiences had shifted to being calm and constructive communications. Moreover, there's an even more profound dimension to Cayce's teachings, linking these dream experiences to your spiritual growth. As outlined in reading 496, engaging with souls who have passed on can enhance your psychic abilities if approached in the right manner. These experiences function as platforms for enhancing awareness and cultivating spiritual attunement. Cayce indicated that every true spiritual interaction in dreams offers a chance to refine telepathic skills, sensitivity to energy, and the ability to distinguish various spiritual influences, referencing documents 262-15. He elaborated on how ongoing dream exchanges with spiritually elevated beings can sharpen your intuition and enrich your grasp of metaphysical concepts. This is where the potential for significant transformation in your spiritual path lies. According to Cayce, acquiring the skills to engage securely with disembodied spirits equips you for reaching higher spiritual realms, including what he referred to as the Akashic records. The same sensitivity essential for communicating through dreams with those who have passed away evolves into the capability to tap into universal wisdom and guidance. However, there's a cautionary note that may help you avoid serious spiritual issues. In reading 57567, Cayce highlighted that trying to deliberately initiate these interactions through seances or occult methods can open pathways to lower spiritual beings that may lead to considerable difficulties. The most beneficial approach is to facilitate natural contact while upholding firm spiritual boundaries. Let me present the documented case of Robert Patterson from Richmond, who disregarded this advice and intentionally pursued dream connections with deceased family members through ritualistic magic. The insights from reading 1173-04 indicated that he had drawn in multiple earthbound spirits that were sapping his energy and creating psychological turmoil. Cayce suggested a lengthy process of spiritual cleansing and prayer to help restore Patterson's psychic balance. This leads us to one of Cayce's key disclosures regarding the fundamental purpose of such spiritual interactions. In reading 1472-12, it is noted that engaging with departed souls acts as a means of preparation for one's own transition upon death. Every effective form of communication fosters a connection with the spiritual realms you will ultimately enter. Cayce emphasized that individuals who cultivate positive relationships with the spirit world throughout their earthly existence undergo more seamless transitions at the time of death. They grasp the spiritual principles at play and have a reduced chance of becoming trapped in the physical realm. Reading 2074 explicitly notes that the fear of dying diminishes through constructive spiritual interaction during dreams. This insight can profoundly transform your view on grief and loss. In reading 1598-1, Cayce disclosed that keeping a loving yet non-possessive connection with those who have passed away can facilitate spiritual growth for both the living and the deceased. The living develop the ability to love without attachment, while the deceased gain the experience of serving from higher realms without being drawn back to the physical world. The healing that stems from this insight is truly extraordinary. Sarah Williams from Norfolk, who tragically lost her teenage daughter in a car accident, was engulfed in sorrow for over a year until she began to apply Cayce's teachings from reading 1159-1. Through this process, she found a way to communicate with her daughter in dreams, thereby fostering her spiritual growth. She channeled her sorrow into a wellspring of spiritual resilience and inner insight. However, there's an additional vital aspect regarding the timing of these interactions that Cayce found, which many overlook. As outlined in readings 575-611, our personal spiritual growth influences the caliber of spirits we draw in our dreams. The greater our vibrational frequency, the more evolved the souls that can reach out to us. This opens up remarkable possibilities for spiritual advancement. By regularly enhancing your awareness through meditation, prayer, and acts of service to others, you start to draw in interactions with spiritually enlightened beings who offer authentic guidance and insights. The document 2 Cayce 2-19 outlines instances where individuals obtain detailed spiritual teachings during dream exchanges with advanced souls. Cayce's personal experiences attest to this concept. Over the course of his career, he kept in touch with multiple disembodied mentors who offered direction for his readings and personal growth. These connections, recorded in readings such as 2-94-8, illustrate how dream interactions can serve as a continuous source of spiritual learning. Here's a practical approach that can enhance your spiritual journey beginning tonight. Cayce suggested developing what he referred to as a spiritual communication protocol. Prior to sleeping, clearly define your intentions regarding the kind of spiritual interaction you seek, consistently asking for guidance that serves the highest good and is of the utmost evolution. The outcomes are well documented. Dr. William McGarry, who collaborated extensively with Cayce's medical readings, put these protocols into action and reported frequent communication with deceased doctors who offered valuable insights for managing challenging cases. The accounts captured in ARI archives illustrate how communication through dreams can broaden professional understanding beyond corporeal boundaries. However, there is an even deeper significance regarding the fundamental implications of Cayce's teachings. As noted in reading 1472-15, effective dream interactions with souls who have passed away provide proof of consciousness continuing after physical demise. Every authentic experience serves as personal validation that your core self persists beyond physical life. This insight changes the way you approach and experience your present life. Understanding that consciousness endures, relationships persist even after death, and spiritual development can occur in other dimensions alleviates the existential anxieties that restrain many individuals. According to entry 5749-3, this awareness enhances spiritual growth by diminishing the ego's frantic need for physical existence. Allow me to present a final documented example that demonstrates the profound influence of grasping these concepts. Dr. Margaret Gammon, a psychiatrist based in Virginia Beach, first encountered Cayce's teachings with a skeptical scientific viewpoint. However, following the passing of her mother, she began to have vivid dreams in which her mother offered specific advice on how to assist emotionally troubled children. By adhering to Cayce's guidelines from document 1174-1, Dr. Gammon was able to differentiate between dreams that fulfill wishes and those that represent true spiritual messages. The insights she gained resulted in innovative treatments that have assisted numerous children in overcoming intense psychological trauma. Her recorded examples demonstrate that communication through dreams can offer practical insights that are inaccessible via traditional methods. The ramifications of Cayce's insights reach well beyond merely finding solace regarding death and dreams. They propose that human consciousness exists in realms where we are just beginning to grasp that death signifies a transition rather than an end, and that spiritual connections can surpass physical constraints. The readings recorded in Virginia Beach have significantly impacted contemporary studies on consciousness, near-death experiences, and transpersonal psychology. Researchers at various universities throughout the United States are now examining phenomena that Cayce discussed long before they gained recognition in mainstream academic circles. Initially, a young man's skill in diagnosing health issues while in a trance has progressed into an extensive comprehension of consciousness that keeps broadening our understanding. The Association for Research and Enlightenment preserves thorough documentation of these readings, accessible to anyone interested in validating these cases and pursuing further inquiry. After grasping these concepts, your perception of dreams may be forever altered. Each interaction with departed loved ones serves as a chance for shared spiritual advancement rather than just emotional solace. Every effective exchange demonstrates the persistence of awareness and the existence of spiritual realms that are beyond the imagination of most individuals. The safeguarding techniques that Cayce offered guarantee these meetings are enriching instead of exhausting. The spiritual groundwork he suggested turns fear into insight and sorrow into a deepening love. Crucially, the recorded success of these methods instills hope that death signifies a change rather than an end. As you get ready for sleep tonight, keep in mind that you are stepping into realms where the nature of consciousness is governed by different principles, where love surpasses any physical distance, where knowledge is shared directly, and where your spiritual growth persists through connections that death cannot sever. Edgar Cayce's impact endures through the countless individuals who have embraced these ideas and uncovered their truths through their own experiences. The readings preserved in Virginia Beach remain a source of insight for those wishing to grasp the profound realities of consciousness and the remarkable continuity of spiritual life that exists beyond physical death.